Hey guys, your boy MKS here. Everyone's well. It's 2:45 in the morning, I think now. If the laptop time is right, so I really should have slept just ago. I should have probably slept by midnight or at least 1 o'clock at the latest. But anyway, probably had too much caffeine as usual, too much tea and hot chocolate. So at the moment, I have a bit of energy, so I really want to upload about why I personally wish to financially, I wish, pray, dream, hope, or whatever, to financially support India, and I wish to make many YouTube videos like this, like AIs United for India, AIs being Anglo-Indians, as I talked about before. And I think one of the biggest inspirations, as well as being an anti-imperialist anyway, is some of the videos I've seen on YouTube, especially by one Shashi Tharoor, who I think is an Indian MP or former MP. Probably a bit of a controversial character, but I thought what he said was quite interesting. He did a really stirring Oxford speech about how colonialism was not, or how, in this case, how the British were not benign colonialists, or whatever the word is. So it wasn't that they were actually trying to help India or anything like that. They were actually trying to, and I think every colonial power probably trying to, wouldn't be unfair to blame one more than the other, like the Portuguese or the French or whatever. But anyway, so apparently India was, this is debatable, as I've talked about before. So sorry if I'm repeating points, or I forgot points or whatever, but it was said that India had a GDP which was 23%, I think, supposedly, of the world GDP belonged to India. Some people have disputed this, especially in Britain or the right-wing press probably, or whatever, and they've talked about why they disagree with his speech, but I thought it was a really good speech. It's gone viral as well, and it's supported by many people in India. So that's one reason why I love to see India unite and do well, and financially and economically do well as support each other and things like that, and including people of partial Indian descent or ancestry, as people try to divide the country, nation, whatever you call it. Anyway, whichever term you prefer. That's a big question. What's the difference between a country and a nation? Are they the same thing? Two words for the same thing? But anyway, so this inspired me to think, like in the past, I thought of a rather big dream. People probably say it's a pipe dream, but it was to try to help India to get, I thought, wouldn't it be cool if India got 25% of the world's GDP to make up for the fact that suppose it would round it up to a quarter, so supposedly have 23% of the world's GDP. And what if people like myself could help India somehow with creative ideas or whatever, to help India to have 25% of the world's GDP. And then I thought possibly go halfway in between, then it'd be 24%. But then I thought it would be even cooler if it was like rounded to 30%. But I don't know, maybe that's too ambitious or too high for one country, considering there's so much poverty as well in other parts of Asia and Africa. Anyway, which brings me to another point, which is that, as I've talked about before, I love, I'll say, Malaysia, India, Indonesia, and Singapore to work together, and also the rest of it, Asia, a Chindian network between China and India, and also Asian nations networking together with African nations, especially India networking with African nations, and things like that. So there's also another great channel, come to think of it as well, and I'm sure there are many others, called India in Details by, again, I probably mentioned this before, but a Polish lady who's married to an Indian chap, and she's called Carolina Goswami, I think, and her channel, India in Details, please check, India in Details, that is, please check that out. I think it's a really good channel, and she does a lot of talks about how India is going back to what it was really before. It was the richest country, apparently, along with, I think China was probably second or whatnot, but to me it's probably arguably it's a rightful place, dare I say. But so that's, I suppose, the main reason being anti-imperialist and all that, because I feel they were robbed, as I would see it. So in my opinion, it's justice. So it's righting wrong of the past, and I hope to make videos about being, I would call it a social justice supporter, instead of what some people say, people on the right call people like me, I suppose, social justice warriors, but I'm not much of a warrior, so I thought I'd call it SJS for social justice supporter or social justice worker or something like that, to talk about how I dream to make what I see as just. If I think someone was wronged in some way, try and help them, or in this case countries, and mainly countries, if I feel they were wronged, robbed or beaten or degraded, or there's a lot of killing off people from India. So to me, it's kind of justice to see India do well, and I hope that they will do well, and I hope people like me will come up with ideas and share ideas together and make YouTube videos like this and network together and possibly share ideas about how India can become the #1 financial or economic country, and Indians, people of Indian descent, including mixed race part Indians like myself, making videos like this, and possibly donating as much of the profits as possible to India, especially people from India themselves, but even people, maybe even people from the diaspora, which I've talked about before, or NRIs, non-resident Indians. As ever, I'd love to hear your opinions, whether you agree or not. And as I often say, if you made it this far, thank you for your viewing. And as ever, I'd love to hear your opinions. Either way, what you think, and I'd love to have your support. I'd love to especially support my fellow Anglo-Indians and dyslexics in India, as well as women. And I've talked about it a lot before, but I think as I say, I probably forgot some of those points, or sometimes I think it's good to just remind ourselves of our goals and also just put them out there until hopefully we can work on them until, like I'm sure, I mean, people probably say, I suppose people say don't be too repetitive, but I do want to try and be as interesting, exciting, and enjoyable to watch as possible. But even if you, as I talked about before, if you look at someone like Bill Gates, he probably, when he started Microsoft, I'm sure he had a relentless pursuit of Microsoft, and he probably talked about it quite a lot. So I don't really want to bore people, but I hope people found my ideas interesting. Do you think that supporting India financially, economically, or whatever, or in other ways, but is a just cause or not? And please give your reasons why. I suppose one of the questions I can ask. But yeah, so I'd love to hear what you think, and I hope to encourage, as I say, my fellow Anglo-Indians to be united, support for India financially, supporting India financially. I love to support Italy in football, and probably Turkey for human rights, because Turkey's a Eurasian country like ourselves, but financially, I'll say financially / economically, I'd love us to support India, and again, come up with ideas to support India, possibly tour India, and have networking events, YouTube videos about India, and all sorts of things, like maybe Anglo-Indian YouTubers to meet up in India as well, to look at some of our roots. So yeah, so I know it's a bit controversial, but because I believe that Britain, dare I say, robbed from India, if I can use that term, or even like other empires, took probably even murdered a lot of people, killed a lot of people. Again, whatever the difference is between those two words, that's the reason why, or one of the main reasons why I would love to support India. But there is also a lot of poverty in India as well, so that's another reason to support India, like try and help people who don't have houses. And I think they say there's 70 million homeless people in India. I'm not 100% sure if that's if I heard that figure correctly, but if so, I dream to help everyone around the world, really, but especially in India, to have homes and to be supported. And India and Nigeria also have a lot of poor people. So I thought of another networking idea could be like Inc. Like India, Nigeria, and Cameroon working together, because those countries have a lot of problems, but they can support each other. So I think of a lot of networking ideas like that. But hopefully, if I put the idea out there, someone who's more practical than myself can help to put these forward. But anyway, I probably should sleep. and hopefully tomorrow I can sort out my paperwork a bit more, or a lot more, because I didn't do much today, and maybe make a few more videos. Peace and love.